Yeah, I filmed this week's squash game, and I realized that I'm a cheater because when I got home, there was two instances where I actually thought I got to the ball, and it quite clearly bounced. So I called Tim and I told him I owe you 2 points. Okay, bit of an update, guys. I mentioned that I sent an email to the company Blazar in search of an anamorphic lens. I woke up with the dream of making the Jack and Carol murder story into a movie, and I just thought, for over a year now, I've been looking at anamorphic lenses, and I was going to buy one, and they're all manual focus up until this point in our lives, okay? Which is fine. I shoot a lot of stuff manually anyway. However, just in the last couple of months, two companies have released lenses, Blazar and Shure. So I contacted Blazar and said, would you guys be interested in sending me a lens? They actually got back to me, which was a bit of a surprise, and they said, no, unfortunately, we've already done the marketing tour for that new lens series, the Apex lenses. They didn't mention the 35, but they did mention the 50, and they said, no, we're not going to send you a lens, but we'll keep you in mind for future releases. So I said, okay. Then I looked at the Shure 40mm lens, which was very similar, and I didn't like it. I thought, no, it had some weird issues, guys. The autofocus was not great. It's a very clinical, clear, precise lens, like all of the new lenses we get. That's not what I'm after. I want something that's got some flaws in it, some real good blooming and flaring, and this is what an anamorphic lens is supposed to be. It's supposed to make your videos look cinematic. And so it was just too clinical. And I also didn't like in the background, any highlights that were in the background were octagonal shaped. They had sides. You could see the sharp edges. And what you want to see is a nice smooth bloom, like a smooth edge, right? These things should be fuzzy eggs is what your highlights should look like in the background. So it just diffuses into the background, and the lights don't draw attention away from what you're filming. And I know we're throwing flares and a bunch of stuff in there. So it's a creative decision, right? Some people might like that, but I didn't. So I didn't contact Shure. And then I saw that they're releasing a 20mm version of in the same series. They don't even have a name for their series. It's just called the Shure 40mm anamorphic autofocus lens. The Shure 20mm autofocus anamorphic lens. Give it a name, for God's sakes. Anyway, I thought, well, I'll take a look at it, but I'm not interested because usually when they do these lenses in a series, it should have the same characteristics as the 40. That's not the case. The 20mm, I guess the fans were complaining. They didn't like that octagonal shaped highlights in the background, so they fixed it. They made them, they're not perfect, but they made them smoother. They also fixed the autofocus. It's much snappier, it locks on, and guys were saying a huge improvement over the 40. So I was starting to get excited because it's also a 20mm lens, and that means Gary could actually vlog with it. Yes, I know it's kind of a stupid idea, vlogging with an anamorphic lens, but we would be able to use it for creative projects and vlogging. Why and how can we do that? Because the lens is half the weight and size of the 40mm. It's 400 and some grams, which means I can use it on my gimbal, which is the same weight almost as the 12mm Samyang lens that we use right now, which has some pretty cool blooming and stuff like that to it as well. It's not a perfect lens either, and that's why I bought it. So, guys, and here's the other kicker. It's still in the Indiegogo support us phase. $675 American means that I could get it for $975 Canadian. So I did send them a letter saying, please, can you think of me and send one of these lenses to me? But I also see that everybody is releasing these videos now. So what's happened again is they've already released the lenses to all the people for promotional. I know I'm not going to get one, so I just went ahead and ordered one. And we had $100 and some in the account from you guys. So thank you. That's what I put that towards. And I've ordered it. I'm super stoked, super excited. We're going to be doing some anamorphics on this channel with a 20mm Shure lens. Stay tuned for that. Super excited. You guys probably didn't even notice, but in the last video, I did take some filming liberties, and I've got an old 50mm f1.4 lens here, like from the 60s, an M42 lens. Oh, that thing, glorious blown out backgrounds, right? Just they fade into nothing with the f1.4. And as you can see, I've got the adapter on there so we can use our ND filter. And I've got a whole set of lenses here, guys. I'll show you. So that's a 50. We've also got a 35, a 135, and a 200. And I have them all set up to use that ND filter and to add some really cool old non-perfect shots to our videos. Okay, so I'll just show you a clip of what I filmed with the 50mm, for example, in the last video. And I know most of you never even noticed those shots, but I'm trying to be more creative and adding light sources and bloom and, you know, these movie type effects. And so to go with our new anamorphic lens, I've got this whole setup. And I just want to, I'll just throw out there, I paid $5 for this lens. And I got it in a package with the, so that's a 35mm. This is a 135. I got the two of them for $10. And these things are glorious, all heavy metal. And boy, when you turn that focus ring, it is smooth. It is none of this, the new stuff, like this Samyang, which is, it's a super nice lens. We do most of our shooting on this, guys. This is our 12mm wide, which I do all my vlogging stuff for you guys on. But when I turn this plasticky ring here, it doesn't feel great. And there's a new system in these lenses. It's called a wire system. So when you turn it, it's digital. It's basically sending a digital signal to the camera saying, oh, change the focus. And there's a lag. When you turn this, it takes a second before the camera starts moving in or out. And some guys just can't get used to that. I'm old school. I'm one of those guys, I don't like it. I like these old metal. As soon as I turn this ring, something starts happening, right? Especially if I'm following something and trying to track it for you guys. It makes it way easier for me to say, oh, the person's walking towards me, and I can slowly turn and follow them in. Been doing it for 30 years that way, and I guess that's why, right? We're old school. But anyway, beautiful old metal set of lenses here. I probably paid, I don't know, $200 for all four of them, right? But we're going to use those as part of our movie making process to add creative shots as well as the new lens. If I were to buy 4 anamorphic lenses, you're looking at like $1,000 a piece, right? For we've ordered the 20mm. Now you want to get some close-ups, right? A normal lens is a 50mm lens. So if you wanted to do that for 2 talking heads or things like that, or close-ups of, you know, you're writing something on a paper, or in this example here where I zoomed in on the spirit box and the recorder, that was a 50mm shot. To get an anamorphic lens to do that, I was just looking at the one from Blazar last week, was $1,200 some plus tax. So you would need to pay that much 4 times over because you need each one of those lenses. We're not going to do that. We're going to fake anamorphic is what we're going to do. We're going to use this metal, old, really cheap but good set. And I bought, for $100 last Christmas, I bought an anamorphic adapter. Can you guys see that there's fishing line in the middle there? And that basically, when a strong light source hits that fishing line, it shoots a flare across the screen. Now, I'm not super impressed with this. I haven't been able to get it to work and look as nice as I want. It does add a lot of character to the lenses, which these old ones already have a lot of character. They don't have the best contrast. They do tend to flare a lot. But that's what you want. You want character. We can get more character when we put this on here. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to mix those with our $1,000 anamorphic lens that we bought, and we're going to make some movie scenes. But you guys didn't even notice. I've already been playing with these old lenses. And the last thing we would need to do to totally fake anamorphic would be to put some black bars on the top and the bottom in post. And we can do that. Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys we're on the 50mm, which means I've got to be about 4 feet in front of the camera for minimum focus here. And I've got a strong light source. I've also put the Vid Atlantic filter on the camera. Now you see that green a green line right here going across the screen, that is the light hitting our fishing line. And so if we have that vertical, we get the nice horizontal line on here. If we turn the fishing line horizontal, we'll get the opposite. We'll get a vertical flare. A lot of stuff going on. Oh, there, I saw it. Right there. Okay, you see that green? There we go. There it is. So if you get your light source just exactly right, you can get these cool flares. I don't know why you would want a vertical one. That's odd. To me, you want the horizontal, which is what you see in all the anamorphic movies. But I mean, even this is cool. Look at all the cool flares and things. That's why you use this old lens. You guys don't even realize or notice this stuff when we put it in. Just it's usually pretty brief, right? Just a quick little something that's usually not people, but depends on how creative you want to be. That's massively, there's a lot of going on there, but it's cool. And so of course that's an extreme, guys. This lens, like I say, is 50, 60 years old. The new lens, the anamorphic lens, is going to be much cleaner. We'll get basically the look that we get out of our modern lenses with eye tracking, autofocus, all that stuff, and nice clean flares from a light source in the background. If there's one in the top or some headlights of a car going by in the background, you just get that cool flash right across the screen, but you won't get all this this extra stuff. But this extra stuff is cool too, if you use it right, yeah? Options. It's good to have options, and that's why these old lenses are going to complement our new lens. I like using old lenses, as you guys know. I've got tons of them. So these are our new ones up at the top. These are, anywhere in the last 8-9 years. Those are for the E-mount system. But these other ones are A-mount. Then as we go down even further, we get into the older stuff. Tamron, Adaptol, and M42, which are the video lenses we're using now. I like taking something that guys haven't used since 1964, and I film on it and say, it's still using and workable and looks fantastic in this modern day and age. I just like that. I'd rather spend $10 on 2 crappy old lenses than $1,000 on a new one. But I think in this case, because it's something so different, the anamorphic is so different, it's worth buying one lens. Because out of all the 50 lenses I own, I don't own a single anamorphic lens. And the tipping point for me was that now that they're actually autofocusing anamorphic lenses, that's worth it. That's worth buying.